Okay, well, this is a live show. Hi, this is Dr. Michael Reiner, your host on the Independent Doctors of Pahrump, and tonight is a live show. That call-in number is 727-8750. Last week I had hoped to make the show, but got caught up in the office stuff and just literally ran out of time. That being said, I know there are a few viewers who do call in, so hopefully if that's what you want to do, please do so, because I love your questions and they always spark an interesting conversation. And we are trying to bring up some of the slides, a little technical difficulties in getting the computers running. Again, late getting out of the office, it's literally busier than I have ever been. I guess it's just that time, shortage of doctors. I don't know, someone said the other day, they read in the paper where there was 2,800 people per doctor in this town, and I think the number is probably a little greater than that. Ray the flag man. Ray, you're on the line.
You invited me to call, so I called, Doc.
Hey, I love your calls. Thank you for calling.
Usually I wait 5 or 10 minutes into the show, but right off the bat, you know, last week I saw that you had the videotape, so I figured I want to tell you a couple things that are happening in court that's pertinent. You had mentioned how the feds are coming down on the pharmacies because of prescriptions and just way out of whack. Well, it's not only the feds. So are the courts. Mm-hmm. I see people with medical use cards with serious problems, and the court, when they put them on probation, they refuse to let them use the medical use card. They have to turn it in. We're talking about war veterans who got blown up in Afghanistan that used the CBDs for topical treatments. Mm-hmm. We're talking about people that really need this, and yet the courts will say, use the oxys, use the morphine, but you cannot use medical marijuana. And this is absurd. I talked to the lawyers afterwards. They said they don't know why this is happening, but it is happening. I wanted to make you aware of this because this is ridiculous.
Well, that is. I think it's because the feds still don't recognize marijuana for its legitimate use. And the states, they've given the states the right to do that, but they do a background check on people who receive a medical marijuana card, and so they're asking you to surrender that card if you're found to have violated some law which would preclude you from getting that marijuana card. Is that what you hear that's going on?
Not only that, but if they were to use the marijuana on probation, they will probably be sent to prison for the term that they're sentenced to. And that's absolutely absurd. I saw this one guy that got blown up by an IED, and I talked to him and his lawyers, and he absolutely needs it, and the courts will not allow it. They say, if you use the marijuana for whatever purpose, we can send you to prison for like 2 years.
Well, you know, there is a way around that, Ray, and that is Marinol. You could get a prescription for Dronabinol or Marinol. Obviously, if he's caught possessing marijuana, then that would be illegal, possession. It's still a misdemeanor with the idea that under a certain level is still a misdemeanor. So basically, that kind of person would need, if he's using marijuana, he would need to get the legal prescription. There is a C2 Dronabinol, Marinol, 10 milligrams that you can obtain, and that would be a legitimate prescription that would allow him some use of marijuana as issued by a prescription. So THC is legal. It's very expensive, but it is legal. So that would be one way around that.
This is, they have them pee on a cup and they analyze it, and if you violate, that's when they lock you up.
No. If he had a legitimate prescription for Marinol, meaning if you had gone out and gone to the doctor and got a prescription for Marinol, I've seen people beat urine drug screens this way, meaning they go out to prescription, they get a prescription for Marinol, and while they're taking it, they can show whoever it is a legitimate prescription for a substance that would turn their urine positive for marijuana. The user doesn't know, I mean, the person screening doesn't know how it got in your system. They just know it's in your urine. So therefore, that would allow you to pass the urine test.
I want to tell these lawyers about it. I don't think they ever looked into it. So thank you for that advice. That's excellent.
Yeah.
The thing is, I know people that go to the emergency room for hypertension they're really in pain, and they're given an IV, and somehow it does something to them where they're able to leave and they're okay. Could you explain what that's all about, and then I'll get off the line and let you have the rest of your show.
I didn't understand that. What was that now?
Some people with severe hypertension experience physical pain, and they go to the emergency room, and then they get an IV in the emergency room that alleviates the pain, and they're able to go about their business when they leave.
Well, they probably give them an opioid, morphine or some type of other opioid, so their high blood pressure is related to their pain, meaning it's very normal for blood pressure to go up during an extreme amount of pain. So they're treating the cause of the high blood pressure, which is the pain, and therefore their blood pressure comes down and they feel better. So that's just, that's probably an isolated blood pressure issue, not that they give them something. I mean, if someone presents to the emergency room with a hypertensive crisis, meaning they have high blood pressure and they're feeling the symptoms of the blood pressure, such as, or you could call it a crisis or an urgency, such as, vision changes or headaches, or maybe even soft stroke findings or loss of function, those people are given IVs to lower their blood pressure and are kept overnight. I would not understand a situation where someone like that would be sent home under blood pressure. So if you come in, I mean, it's a prime example. Everybody who gets a nosebleed, they say my blood pressure was 210/20 or whatever, 210 over something when I was in the ER. Well, yeah, I mean, if you have blood coming out of your nose, it's a very stressful situation. So your blood pressure is going to go up. It just so happens you don't feel it because you're all worked up on the nosebleed. But the same thing is true for pain and high blood pressure. It's expected that your blood pressure is up during pain episode. Not a good time to check your blood pressure if you're on blood pressure medicines and say they're not working. Did that answer? I hope that answered that question.
Yes, it does. And thank you very much, and it's good to have you back, Doctor.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you, Ray, and thanks for the call.
All
and
right,
I appreciate those ideas. So that's basically, if you happen to be one of those people that the state takes away your marijuana card, I would see that, and a legitimate prescription. The state will not interfere in a legitimate prescription for pain medication and things of that nature. If you're incarcerated, it's a totally different story. Good luck getting anything inside the jailhouse. There's no opioids or any other mood or mind-altering chemicals for that part, but they do allow psychoactive medications in a prison setting, which I find interesting. They'll allow you to take Xanax, but they won't allow you to take pain medication. That being said, because they're psychoactive drugs, it's just one of those things that exists in the state. The other thing that's kind of strange that I didn't even realize is that there's no legal limit for alprazolam or Xanax in your blood. So had a case where a gentleman was pulled over with a DUI. He mistakenly took medication, got a reckless driving charge. His Xanax level was high, but there's no legal limit for Xanax. So that being said, there's a legal limit for alcohol, but there's not for Xanax, and that's kind of interesting and strange. So there are these huge loopholes in the law, but that is the system we live in, and I guess the wheels of justice move slowly, and they do close eventually. Anyway, we've come to the first break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about other topics. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Reiner, your host of the Independent Doctors of Pahrump, a TV show that airs Monday night on Channel 46. I want to remind you that I am a practicing physician in Pahrump, and I'm an independent practitioner, which means I am not bought by any insurance company or corporate medicine. We provide the highest level of care. We have nurse practitioners. We have other physicians, specialists who come to our office. Please come visit me. I'm at 1316 East Calvada here in the heart of Pahrump. Thank you.